Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Bell. Today is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute your phones. You can do this by pressing star 6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing star 6. It's very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. Well, good morning, and we'll say welcome to the Board of Commissioners. Good morning, Commissioner Scar.
Good morning.
And good morning, Commissioner Fournier.
Good morning, everyone.
Let's jump right in with Adventist Health Tillamook and President Eric Swanson.
Hey, good morning, Commissioner. We have 11 patients in the hospital today, plus, let's see, surgery cases. Yesterday we did 6 surgery cases. Ambulance crews had a busy day with 10 911 transports, 4 transfers, and 2 transports home. We did complete phase 1 of our surgery project. So the surgery suites, the new operating rooms have been turned over to us. We're still waiting approval by the Oregon Health Authority. And we will start the process of slowly moving equipment into those rooms over the next couple of weeks. But phase 1 is done. Once we get that accomplished, we will, phase 2 is going to start where we're going to remodel the old surgery department. So things are moving, and we're happy about that. So unless you got questions, I'll go back on mute.
Thank you, Eric, and congratulations for the progress on the surgery suite. That is very exciting.
Yes, thank you.
Who do we have this morning from the Coastal Caucus?
Well, I'm here.
Good morning. How are you? Oh, wonderful.
We've got us both, huh?
Yes. On stereophonic
will...
sound.
Wow. I mean, I think we should try it. Okay, so Senator Weber, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go?
It doesn't matter. If you would like to go first, that would be fine. I will allow you to. Go for it.
Thank you, Senator. You are always too kind. All right. Well, good to be here again, Commissioners. And today I just wanted to update on a couple of things that I think will benefit our community. With tax day just happening last week, April 15th, a lot of Oregonians were filing their taxes and hoping to get a tax return and not have to pay too much in taxes this year. One of the things, or two of the things that we recently changed that are going to benefit Oregonians are first the Earned Income Credit. And this is a credit that anybody with or without children can qualify for. On the low end, if you're a married couple or a single person with no children, if your income is $19,000 or less, you can qualify for this credit, and it's actually cash that you get back from the government, even if you haven't paid a single penny in taxes, and it can be thousands of dollars. On the upper end, though, it's not just for people who are making less than 19. If you are a person with 3 or more qualifying children, you could make up to $70,000 of taxable income. So that's after your other deductions, and you would still qualify for this credit, and it can be up to $8,000 for somebody with 3 kids in cash, and that's just from the federal government. Now, what we did at the state level is we increased it as well. So effective next year in 2027, so this year coming up, we increased the amount by almost double, so that in the state of Oregon, you get an additional up to $1,200 back, and that's, again, cash in your pocket. So a family with up to $70,000 in income can see almost $10,000 check coming back to them from the federal and the state government. I think that's huge, especially at a time when everything's more expensive, from gasoline and food to daycare. And, our working families in Oregon at all income levels are feeling the pressure everywhere. And so we passed this bill this session as a way to help. We thought, my gosh, there's so much going on out there that we can't control. What can the state do? And this is one thing that we did, I think will make an immediate impact. Nothing helps a family more than cash in their pockets. And so again, even if you think you don't get a tax return, you need to file for this. And I'll tell you why. Hundreds of millions or billions of dollars are left on the table every year because Oregonians and honestly people all across the country don't know about the earned income credit and don't file for it because they don't think they can earn it. It's simple, it's easy. You can go online. A lot of free tax software will help you do it. Or we've also in the last couple of years approved funding for people to help folks with their taxes for absolutely no cost. And so you can look that up. I'll see if I can put a link on my website that will help people find out where these places are, and I'll put it on Facebook as well so they can apply for and get that money that you can use right away. The tax credit is available right now, so it's not just a next year thing. Next year it increases, like I said. But this year, even if you haven't applied, or even if you already applied and didn't know about this, you can still apply for it and still get this money that you can use, like I said, right away. So this is huge for Oregonians, and just wanted to make sure they got its proper shout out in case people didn't know about it. The second thing is for our small businesses. Another thing that we did just last month was we passed a new tax credit for small businesses. This, the way it works is for every person a small business hires, they can earn up to a $1,000 tax credit up to 10 people. So if you're like a small dental practice, say in Tillamook, or if you're a small retail business, you can, if you hire somebody and pay them at least 150% of the minimum wage, which in Oregon, which in Tillamook and Clatsop County is about $21 an hour, because the minimum wage is about $14, then you'll earn up to $1,000 tax credit off of your taxes. So not only do you get to hire an employee that's going to help you be more productive, or to give everyone a little bit more flexibility, the government's going to give you $1,000 back off your taxes. It's a dollar for dollar reduction on your tax. It's not a deduction, it's an actual credit, which means you'll pay $10,000 less if you hire 10 people this next year than you would have otherwise. And again, that's money back in our small businesses' pockets to pay for all sorts of things as they see increased pressure and costs going up as well. So both huge wins for Oregon. I just think that, when we see a lot of, kind of bad economic news out there, that it's good to see what might be out there to help. And I think these are two great big helps. And so that's my update for this week. Unless there's something, another topic that you wanted me to just touch on briefly.
Thank you very much. I do not have any questions. Do my fellow commissioners have any questions for Rep. Javadi? Well, thank you. Thanks for your report and for being with us this morning. It's great work.
Absolutely.
And let's move on to Senator Weber.
Thank you, and good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to thank you all once again for the opportunity to come on here and talk to the community, let the community know, pertinent details like the tax issues, and the fact that we continue to be out there working. As you know, my term expires at the end of the year, and so I'm still here working for constituent issues. Had a great conversation with one of my constituents last night on the possibility of additional legislation regarding some of the issues surrounding clamming in Tillamook Bay and some of what people are experiencing out there. And so, look for things like that will be coming up in the next legislative session that I may introduce the concept, but our legislators will be taking them forward so that we can remember that we need to especially protect a lot of the small businesses that are in our area. I had the opportunity this last week to attend the FFA banquet in Astoria. What an organization those people have up there. They have 446 members in their FFA group. Their banquet was outstanding. And one of the really neat things at the banquet was that our own Hayden Bush from Tillamook High School, and our Tillamook boy that has gone on to done so well in education and in our community was the keynote speaker, and he had a fabulous keynote. So that was a highlight of last week. In addition to the weekend opening of at TBCC of the Science and Administration Building, there was a great crowd there. If you have an opportunity and you haven't been there, take a field trip, walk around, walk through it, look at John Stahl's art, look at the way the building has been constructed and designed, and the classrooms, and of course the wonderful meeting room that is also going to be available to the community. TBCC has opened its building to all kinds of public meetings in the past, and now we have another opportunity to have a meeting room, and it can hold, I believe, up to almost 400 people, which is something we, don't have access to, but now we do. And I really want to thank everyone that voted for the bonds, and John Carnahan for seeing the vision and working to make sure that he tirelessly worked to be able to provide that for our community, and for the voters who also, voted for that and saw the vision of creating education for our community. It's not only the Science and Administration Building, but this new CTE building across the street, and how that has also been changed so that it is going to be an education building. It was the former Mectronics, and that was a gift to our community, and now it's enhanced, and it's going to be a further gift to our community. They're going to be moving in all of the machinery machines it takes to be able to accomplish whatever. And I saw it when it was a blank slate, and so I haven't seen anything since then, but I know that it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So take advantage of going out there and looking at what is happening out there. I was so impressed. I've been out there several times and looked at things and walked around and been in meetings there, but to see in totality what is happening there was just wonderful. The other thing I've been working on this week is the Oregon Hunger Task Force and the challenges that we have providing food to our food banks, and looking at future legislation and opportunities to be able to provide more food for our food banks. And then too, we have another important organization within our community, and that is the Tillamook Working Lands and Waters. And they are having their meeting this morning, monthly meeting, and there is going to be a tour that is going to be planned as a result of that. And I am looking forward to that, and I am looking forward to making sure that there are people that from all over the state that have the opportunity to come and find out exactly what's happening in Tillamook County and in Clatsop County, revolving around our waters and our farms and our forests. And I really want to praise those people for all of the work that they have done. And we've had a lot of political events in the last few weeks, and we're going to have more of them. And I encourage you to take advantage, whether you're in that party or not, of these events, to come and be informed and find out who the candidates are. So when you have an opportunity to get your voters pamphlet, you can say that you have heard those people, you have met those people, and you can make an educated choice on who you wish to vote for. And remember, if you're a NAV or if you want to change your affiliation, you can still do that. This week is probably the last week that you can do that, because April 28th is the last day to register to be able to vote. And because ballots will start to go out, not completely, so don't look for it on the 29th or the 30th, but ballots will start to go out on the 29th. And historically, these midterm elections are very have low participation. Let's not do that. Let's take every opportunity that we have to be able to express our opinions and our wishes by voting. Someone said to me one day, "Well, what do you think about this?" And I gave my opinion, and they said, "Well, did you vote? Because if you didn't vote, you have no right to complain." And they were absolutely right. If you have your opportunity to take it so that you can vote, make your opinion heard. Now, if, depending upon what you have declared as your party, that will depend on what you get as your ballot. So make sure that you have expressed that. And remember that May 12th is about the last date that you can just go to the mailbox and mail your ballot, because it's got a stamp on it, and make sure that it's going to arrive. Otherwise, you can go to the post office and hand it to them, and they can hand cancel it, because they have to arrive or be postmarked by 8 o'clock on the 19th. And remember that some of our mail is not postmarked right here in this community. It's postmarked when it gets somewhere else. And we learned that at tax time with April 15th, just last week, when we were advised by our tax preparers to make sure that if we were filing on the 15th, that we went to the post office and make sure that our tax returns were postmarked on the 15th. So just a couple of things to think about. Your vote is important, and you need to make sure that you have the ability to vote. So remember, you can still register by April 28th. So I think that's, unless you have some questions for me, I have another busy week, and so I'll be back next week to talk with you, and if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Senator. Thanks so much for your report, for encouraging people to vote. I couldn't agree with you more. And also, thank you. I was delighted to be at the TBCC grand opening with you this weekend. And I was curious about your guest. Senator Brock Smith was with you, and I wondered if you could tell us why he was visiting Tillamook on Saturday.
Senator Brock Smith was visiting in Tillamook because he is running for the Senate. He's, in Coos Curry County, down in the southern part of the state, but he is running for Senator Merkley's position for the U.S. Senate. And so he's making his way around, and he had heard that we were opening that building, and he was curious about it because he had been here visiting earlier in the week. He had been up in Astoria and making the trip down the coast because, his focus is the South Coast, and he's learning more and more about what the challenges and the opportunities that we have on the North Coast. And so he opted to come to the opening, and he was so impressed. He couldn't believe it, that what we have done with our TBCC and the opportunities that we have. And I had a lot of pride in being able to show him everything that we have. Earlier in the week, the creamery gave him a tour of the creamery. He's been over in Eastern Oregon looking at the farms over there, and so he wanted to see the rest of the process. And I really appreciate him taking the time to find out, what we are all about and how important our rural communities are to the economy of the state. And educating our people is one of those ways that we are important to the economy. So it was really nice to have him here. And he has promised that he will be back. And I think that's a good sign too. somebody's interested. Somebody is paying attention to us. Somebody wants to be educated before they make their, as they make their push. And you know what? There's one other thing when we're talking about elections that I'd like to bring up. I have had several people come to me and express the fact that they have had political signs put in their driveway, put on their property for people that they don't necessarily endorse. You know, folks, if you're going to put these signs out there, get permission to put them where you put them. And the other thing is, if a municipality has ordinances concerning sign sizes, educate yourself as to what the sign sizes that are allowed, and educate yourself as to the fact that ODOT also has sign requirements, and that if you decide to put your signs in ODOT territory, they're going to take them down, because we don't need additional distractions when we are driving, and that is what that is all about. So if you're going to run for office, educate yourself on sign regulations. Okay, now that folks have expressed that to me, I have expressed that to you. I've got that word out there. Thank you for the opportunity to add that.
Oh, thank you, Senator. And I agree completely that I have always gotten permission from property owners about places where I put signs, and it's clear that sometimes that's not happening. So thank you for that message. And also thanks for explaining Senator Brock Smith's visit. I was pleased to meet him, but I didn't have time to visit with him after the event. So I was just curious about what brought him to Tillamook. So that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Let's move on to Tillamook County Community Health Center and Camille Sorensen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am happy to announce and welcome everyone to the community open house and ribbon cutting for Genoa Healthcare Pharmacy on Wednesday, May 6th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at our Main Street Clinic location, located at 800 Main Avenue, Suite A in Tillamook. There will be a ribbon cutting, comments from few brief guest speakers, and light refreshments. The pharmacy is now open to serve the community, and we are all excited to share what kinds of services Genoa Healthcare Pharmacy has to offer our community. There'll be more. We will remind people of this event coming up, but I wanted to get that out there. National Administrative Professionals Day is tomorrow, April 22nd. The annual recognition day originated as National Secretaries Week in 1952 and has evolved to include a broader group of skilled frontline staff who keep offices and programs running smoothly. At Tillamook County Community Health Centers and Public Health, we are fortunate enough to have 11 such talented individuals working for us, and you can find them at the clinic, in our behavioral health department, clinic, dental office, public health, and the administrative offices. We are thankful for their daily contributions to helping our programs and services run smoothly for everybody. We'd like everybody to mark their calendars. The YMCA and Tillamook County Wellness are planning a Healthy Kids Day on May 30th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the Tillamook Junior High field. There will be activities for all ages, the popular Adopt a Bike and Bike Rodeo events, community resources, giveaways, and more. That also will be, I believe, advertised a lot more as we get closer to the day on May 30th. And finally, April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and it's a great time to reflect on our drinking and the role alcohol plays on our lives and communities. Together, we can build safer, more supportive spaces where alcohol doesn't have to be the focus. Let's come together as a community to find solutions that prevent excessive alcohol use among adults and youth and create a healthier environment for everyone. Whether you're drinking multiple drinks a day or just one or two occasionally, drinking less is healthier for you. And for more information, people can go to www.rethinkthedrink.com. And that is my report for today.
Thank you, Camille. Do we have any questions for Camille? If not, let's move on to Gail Nelson and Halem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I have 4 announcements today. I would like to again welcome Johanna Braithwaite, our family nurse practitioner, to our team. Johanna is a family nurse practitioner with 15 years of healthcare experience, including a background in EMS and emergency nursing. She sees patients of all ages, and she's bilingual in English and Spanish, so she is now accepting new patients. The next announcement is regarding a new board president. We are pleased to announce that Carrie Scott has been elected board president. Carrie has a long history with the organization, having first joined as a staff member in 2013 and serving on the board since 2017. We also want to recognize outgoing board president Paul Erlebach for his years of service. So 2 more announcements. One is the dental clinic update. Again, we're fully staffed and positioned to serve even more patients. The team is led by dental director Dr. Brian Holmes, who has more than 30 years of experience in community health and private practice. He's supported by a registered dental hygienist and 2 dental assistants. And finally, measles preparedness. Well, as you've probably heard, it's increasing nationally and in Oregon. According to my information, Oregon has reported 13 confirmed cases so far. So we have developed and we're working closely with Tillamook County Public Health, and we have protocols covering patient screening, isolation procedures, staff preparedness, and communications. And that's it for me today.
Thank you, Gail. It was delightful to see you on Saturday at the American Association of University Women monthly meeting and also at TBCC. It felt like we got to spend the day together.
Yes, it was fabulous. A shout out to the college for such a fabulous event. And I'm so pleased that the AAUW hosted a little forum so that I can learn more about what's going on.
Thank you. And thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Let's go on to Tillamook Family Counseling Center and Amanda Bunger.
Hello, everyone. I thought today,
Good morning.
Good morning. I thought today I would give a little update on our mobile crisis. Just like everything we do, we have reporting requirements for that, and we were able to get our report back for Q3. And so the information I'm going to share today, again, is our mobile crisis team, and that does not include our involuntary and forensic services. So that would be more like aid and assist and civil commitment work. So for mobile crisis, I think one of the interesting things is that in Q1, we were dispatched 22 times, in Q2, 19 times, and then this most recent quarter, we had 54 dispatches. So as you can see, this quarter, we had a significant increase. I think part of that is because around 1/4 of those calls or dispatches were repeats. So that would be someone who had needed assistance previously, and then we went out to assist them again. Our team is one of the few that was able to get a 100% rating on our 72-hour follow-up with folks. So it is a requirement that if our mobile crisis has interaction with an individual, that we, meaning our agency in general, follow up with them within 72 hours. And we did that 100% of the time. So that's amazing. The other really interesting thing that I found in this report was our really great partnership with our law enforcement folks. So when we would get called for a dispatch, 35% of the time that was to the jail, and 28% of the time that was in the community, and 17% were in private residences. So of those, when we would show up on scene in the community or private residence, 59% of the time, our law enforcement friends were already on scene. So they were able to assist us, be sure we were safe, help us understand the situation, and partner together to make services happen or make plans as to how to help this individual. For in the community of community partners or clinics or agencies who were calling us for help or a dispatch, 80% of those calls, again, were from our law enforcement partners. So I think it's just important for the community to know that our relationship, how closely we work with them, our partnership in that regard, and keeping everyone in our community safe, especially those who are having maybe the worst day of their life or in a mental health crisis who just really need help. So I think that was just a report I needed to share with the community so that you kind of knew the work that we do for crisis and again with our law enforcement partners.
Thank you, Amanda. That is
Yeah.
interesting, and it's behind the scenes work, that I think a lot of people don't realize that much crisis intervention work is happening, or how Tillamook Family Counseling works in cooperation with law enforcement. So I really appreciate you talking about that.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Do we have Randy Thorpe with us this morning in emergency management?
You bet, Commissioner. I am here today.
Good morning. Good morning.
I just wanted to start off with a little mention that our volunteers are our core of our response and recovery here in Tillamook County. And I just want everybody to be aware that this week from April 19th to the 25th is National Volunteer Week of 2026. So I'll just take this opportunity to recognize those remarkable individuals and organizations whose commitment to service strengthens our communities. We celebrate that spirit of volunteerism that lies at the heart of our resiliency. I came across a recent study that ranked Oregon third in the U.S. for volunteering. Some highlights from that study: that there was nearly 1.5 million volunteers and 177 million hours of service during that year. 43% of the residents volunteer, which took us up to that third in the United States. And our volunteer service is worth an estimated $4.2 billion. 62% of residents do favors for neighbors. I don't know how they came up with that one, but kind of an interesting number there. And 33% do something positive for their neighborhood. 43% participate in local groups, and 62% donate at least $25 to charity each year. So with that, I just want to come up with a few things as ways you can help participate in this is volunteer with your local organization. Whatever that may be, whether it be with environmental, emergency preparedness, food banks, animal shelters, just set a goal to start being a volunteer. And if you know the volunteers within your community, thank them for everything they do, because again, it's volunteers what they're doing. And that can place a tremendous strain upon them and their families. So they're really putting it all out there for our communities. And if you have any really cool stories, share them on social media about our volunteers that we have here in our county. And the last but not least is donate to support the volunteers. A lot of our volunteers within this county are not part of any type of government agency or organization. And so a lot of their funding comes just strictly from support from the community. And so I also ask you to please, do what you can to help support those volunteers within your community. So with that, hug a volunteer today, and I'll turn it back to you, Commissioner Bell.
Thank you, Randy. Hey, I really appreciate you talking about volunteers, and I think our volunteers in Tillamook County. I think volunteerism as a culture and a value is one of the strongest, best things about our community. So I also want to thank volunteers and encourage people who don't volunteer to consider it, because it's how we make our community better and stronger. And also, people have been asking me about President Trump's declaration of the winter storm. So I wonder if you can talk about that for a minute and how it impacts Tillamook County.
Yes, what it was is that because of our winter storms, we declared a countywide state of emergency. And because the state met some thresholds on how much damage we had to have before we could ask for a federal disaster, we surpassed that. And so Governor Kotek did send off a request that the president sign a declaration of disaster here for the state of Oregon, which he did, which I think it's about 11 counties are part of it. Tillamook was one of them. We were pretty large there. We had well over $5 to $10 million worth of damage here, and most of it was all our road infrastructure. So this is really nice that we're going to be able to get some funding from FEMA to help redo and make and do those corrections that we need to do. For more information, I'll probably have more information next Tuesday, because tomorrow we're meeting with the FEMA people from the state, their representatives here in the state, to talk about where we're at, how much money is actually coming, which projects were officially approved. And so we have that meeting tomorrow, and I know that there's going to be, I think, hopefully Mike Sims from Menzing will be there, and we've got, of course, Chris Lady and Michelle Bradley, the main people that put in projects for FEMA reimbursement. So after that meeting, I'll take some really good notes and make sure that I have a great report on where we're headed towards that. But at least we're moving forward, and the shutdowns didn't seem to affect it too much. And so we're really glad that finally came through. And so we'll just go ahead and wait and see what happens on Wednesday, and we'll just take it from there. And like I say, we'll have a pretty good report for you next Tuesday.
Terrific, Randy. Thank you. Well, let's move on to the Board of Commissioners report and start with Commissioner Fournier.
All right, good morning. I didn't really have much. Senator Weber mentioned the political signs. I just wanted to add a little bit to that. As she said, I've been getting calls and emails on this as well. Placing signs on the state right away is illegal. Also, like telephone poles, that's not allowed as well. And the cities have their own particular ordinances regarding placement and size of signs, and I would recommend anyone running for office or anybody who's helping a candidate to be aware of those. The county rules are a little bit less strict in that we don't currently have an ordinance that addresses campaign signs. However, the basis concern is if there's any placement that would cause a public safety issue, whether it's blocking a view or whether it's a sign constructed of a material that would damage a vehicle if it were to strike it. Also, if it's too close to the roadway. And I think the senator's advice and you mentioned it, is if you're going to put signs out, get permission. It's just the right thing to do. If you're putting signs even in a public right of way, if you're putting it in front of someone's business or their home, you should ask permission first. And I would just say that was something I'd be cautious of. And that's all I wanted to say about that.
Thank you. Commissioner Scar.
Good morning. Thank you. A couple of things. I had an opportunity last week, to travel down to Bend for a 2-day conference. The conference was Regards to Rural, and it was a great opportunity to connect with other people from rural communities that are doing good work
Uh-oh, I've just lost Commissioner Scar's audio.
Oops, there I am. I'm back.
Oh, you're back.
Not sure
Okay.
how I did that. Somehow I muted myself while talking. Anyway, so the opportunity to network with folks from Oregon, Washington, Idaho, all doing good work in rural areas. And the organization that put it together, which is Rural Development Initiatives, is putting together their legislative agenda for the upcoming long session. So it was also an opportunity to make sure that rural voices were heard as they looked at what priorities they would set for the coming year. So I look forward to hearing back from them and seeing what they have chosen that will come out of their work that we can support going forward in the next legislative session. So that was a good opportunity. I appreciated the opportunity to do that. Yesterday, I had a chance I sit on the board of the Columbia Pacific CCO, which I've spoken about before. It is the group that oversees the Oregon Health Plan for our region. As we have all heard and know, there are changes that will be coming to the Oregon Health Plan as the federal government cuts Medicaid. So there was a good conversation yesterday hearing from Eric Hunter, who is sitting on the governor's task force to look at ways that Oregon will adjust their services related to the cuts that are coming. So we got some good information. Right now, it's just sort of a spaghetti at the wall approach that they're taking to say what are all the things that we could look at to reduce costs. They're looking at whether they would reduce specific benefits, whether they would reduce numbers of folks who qualify, whether they would reduce administrative requirements the state has put on the providers that could make it cheaper to do what they do. So right now, they're in that phase of just throwing all the spaghetti at the wall. So I look forward in the next 2 months to hearing how the governor's group pares that down and what they will recommend to her related to changes to Oregon Health Plan. So again, a good space to be at the table and to be hearing what's happening and be able to provide feedback, which the next meeting, which will be 2 months from now, will be a feedback meeting where I will be able to provide community input. So I will be talking with our medical providers here before I go into that space to make sure that I understand the keys to providing good service that they know well, and I can represent those in the statewide conversation for this. I had a question regarding how to best advocate for timber in the work that we're doing at both the state and federal levels. And so I wanted to just remind people of some opportunities to advocate and how you do that if you would like to do that. So I'm going to start with the state processes. And we talked about in depth the annual operations plans. I think it was last week I talked about those. So just reminding everyone that those annual operations plans are open for public comment right now. That public comment is open through May the 18th. You can go and search online the Oregon Department of Forestry annual operations plan. It will take you to the page where the plans are, and the information for how to provide public comment is there. It's not a public meeting comment at this point. It is written or email public comment. So that is open right now, and that is specific to what sections of the forest will actually be cut in the coming year, what recreational facilities will be improved or replaced in the coming year, what restoration type work will be done. So it's very specific on the ground. This is exactly what we will do in what they call fiscal year 27, which is July 26 through June 30 of 27. So you can see what's coming and comment on that specifically. The other document that the Oregon Department of Forestry is working on still is the Forest Management Plan, the FMP, and that has received public comment. It is now with really the Board of Forestry, and we expect that they will take a vote to approve that at their June meeting. Their June meeting is June 3rd and 4th. They have not yet released the agenda, so I don't know what day they will consider this. You can again search the Oregon Department of Forestry. You can search the Board of Forestry, get their meeting agenda when it comes out. You can sign up to receive those if you want. I will also continue to make that information available here, but there is always a space for public comment at Board of Forestry meetings, and you can do it in person or you can do it remotely. The Board of Forestry does travel around the state for their meetings, so often remote is the easiest way to make public comment unless they happen to be near us. But again, I have not not yet heard the location of that. So if you have concerns about the FMP or the forest management plan, this would be your last opportunity. We expect to make comment. We'll be at that Board of Forestry meeting. So that is related to state timber. And if you would like to advocate on that front, those are ways to do that. The other one that I talked about recently was a federal forest management plan that BLM is going to be bringing forward. They have closed the first round of public comment, which was on what they called scoping, which is what are we going to look at? Why are we doing this? That section has been closed. The next thing that will happen is they will bring forward an environmental impact statement, and they are hopeful to bring that out in mid-June. And that will actually lay out 3 or more different alternatives for how they will change the plan or they will drive the plan. What are the key things they're looking at? What decision points are there? If they make decisions at each of those points, what would the impacts be, both to the timber growth, to the environment, to endangered species, et cetera. So that is the meat of changes they would be looking to make. So that is not yet open for public comment, but we expect it to be open for public comment starting in the middle of June. And again, I will continue to talk about that on this call. And in that case, you search the Bureau of Land Management, Oregon Forest Management Plan, and you should be able to find the plan as it comes up. So more will come as they release more, but I just wanted to go ahead and kind of give that overview. They do take all public comments into account. They do look at those. They do integrate pieces of those. So these processes do have public input. You have the ability as a resident of Oregon and a resident of our country to participate and to make sure your voice is heard. So I just wanted to answer that constituent question and concern and make sure that it was very clear how and where you could comment. So with that, I will turn it back to you, Commissioner Bell. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, I'd like to go back to the TBCC grand opening for a minute that Senator Weber was talking about. It happened on Saturday. It was the grand opening of the Health Sciences and Administration building, the beautiful new building on campus. And I think there were, I'm guessing, maybe 300 people there. It was an outstanding turnout. It was really great. It was a joyful celebration. People from all over the place were there, and everybody. There were lots of students there, and former students, and employees, faculty, and staff. People who used to work there, board members, supporters. You know, there were just a fabulous cross-section of people were there, and Senator Weber, of course, because she is on the TBCC board, for which I'm very grateful. I'm also on the TBCC board. I have been for 13 years. It's one of my passions, and I'm the board chair. So it was just a wonderful, wonderful event. And what I want to share with the community for people who weren't there is that we dedicated the plaza. There's a beautiful new plaza between the new building and what was formerly the main building on campus. There's a beautiful new plaza between the two that connects the campus. And we dedicated the plaza to John Carnahan, who was former TBCC president. And he was there and received the honor and gave a speech. And his speech was wonderful because he went through a history of TBCC that some of the information that he provided was new to me and you know, certainly new to other people in the audience. So I wanted to share it with the community. He was talking about how in 2006, when he became president of TBCC, originally the TBCC board hired him to find a president, to recruit a president. He was retired from Lynn Benton Community College. So he tried to recruit a president. The recruitment failed, and so then they said, well, we want you. We don't want you to recruit a new president. We want you. And he agreed. He came out of retirement and agreed to be TBCC president. And so in 2006, the TBCC operated out of the old Wads Funeral Home. So that's just 20 years ago. TBCC operated out of the old Wads Funeral Home, and it had very few students, just, a small number of students, and was not accredited. So the accreditation process went through Portland Community College, which was difficult and far from ideal. And so what John Carnahan was talking about was what our community, what Tillamook County has accomplished in terms of our investment in and value for education in 20 years. That what we've accomplished as a community is truly extraordinary because we were late in terms of establishing a community college. Most of the other community colleges were established long before ours in the 80s and 90s, and we've done everything we've done in the last 20 years. So if you think about the fabulous new campus now we have with 4 buildings, 2 of which were supported by voters by building bonds, the new building and the main campus. The other 2, the CIT building for technical education, is just opened. So that was unveiled to the public on Saturday, and the Partners for Rural Innovation, the PRI building, was funded by donations rather than a bond. So this community has made a tremendous education in a tremendous investment in education in the last 20 years and built something remarkable. And John Carnahan said, you have the best community college campus, the best buildings in the entire state because yours are so new and all the others are old. We now have state-of-the-art teaching facility for nursing. Fabulous, amazing simulation labs for healthcare education students. So it was very uplifting. Like I know that what we have here, we have reason to be very proud, but it was very uplifting to hear not only should we be proud, but in fact we have accomplished extraordinary things in 20 years. And as a result, we have better facilities than other community colleges around the state. So bravo to this community for supporting education. And I'm just really grateful and sorry that everybody couldn't have been there on Saturday. So with that, I will stop talking and move on to the cities, starting with the city of Manzanita.
Good morning, Commissioner Bell and everyone else. Happy Tuesday. That was a really interesting history and 20 years of history condensed into a couple minutes. So thank you, Commissioner, for that. I'm always learning more, always fascinated at how deep the roots are for all the philanthropic and the community work here. So thank you for that education. I have just a couple updates this morning. We are, of course, deep into the budget process, and by we, I mean staff. So preparing for that, which in a week or 2, we'll be doing our reviews and our first round of discussion with our city manager. That's always an important set of meetings for us and helps sets the tone and pace for the next year. So we're really looking forward to that. Our Classic Road project, which is a small but very important road for us here in Manzanita and a connector between the town and the Kearney Road and the state park. As you know, if you've been listening to me talk on this topic for a while, we've been working on this for a while now, and we're getting really close to the end. We are hoping, with some help from the weather gods, because it's all down to paving time now, I think, we're hoping to be finished with that project by the end of May. That includes not just the road being replaced, but also the storm systems underneath being not just replaced, but improved, and a big enhancement to our water delivery system to parts of our city limits and also within our urban growth boundary. This has been made possible by a state grant that we received, about $2.8 million, primarily around enabling affordable housing, which was a part of the service area that our improved water system will be able to, it already services it, but we'll be better able to service it for the future. And then the last thing I'll mention is we are meeting this week, have a council meeting, a special council meeting, to review proposals that we've received from search firms who are interested in getting the contract to work with us to find a replacement for our city manager, Layla Aman, who will be leaving. And so we're working on that. That will be important work, is important work for our council. And so we're very focused on that as a very immediate priority, and more updates on that when some are available. And that's it from Manzanita. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have anyone on from the city of Nehalem or the city of Wheeler? How about Rockaway Beach?
Good morning, Tillamook County.
Good morning, Mayor.
So at our April 8th council workshop, AGE Architecture and Fire Chief Hesse presented their initial work on the city's options for replacing or upgrading our aging fire station. Their presentation included a review of the current and future needs of the fire department, ensuring that any proposed solution would adequately serve the community for years to come. The architects provided a preliminary analysis of 4 potential options and associated cost estimates, 3 options at the location of the current station and 1 at the 10-acre site outside the flood and tsunami inundation zones east of our city. After careful consideration, the City Council directed the team to narrow the remaining feasibility work to 1 option at each site. Next, the team will refine cost estimates, conduct further geotechnical analysis, and explore available funding opportunities for both locations. I recommend community members watch the recording of the workshop on our city website to get some insight into what's happening in regards to fixing our aging fire station problem. City Planner Tapia met with Cascadia Partners to formally kick off our development code update project. This project seeks to modernize existing land use policies to update local regulations affecting residential development. These updates will ensure compliance with state housing laws, address permitting and land use barriers, and support housing production, affordability, and choice. Staff will review potential amendments to the comprehensive plan map, and zoning ordinance, and subdivision ordinance. If this is a topic that interests you, I recommend you attend or watch the June Planning Commission meeting where this project will be formally introduced to our Planning Commission. Public Works received the Oregon Health Authority and Department of Environmental Quality Drinking Water Source Protection Award for the proactive steps that the city has taken to substantially lower risk to the public water system's drinking water source. We are one of 15 cities to receive the award. Additionally, the Oregon Health Authority designated Rockaway Beach as an outstanding performer, one of only 6 cities to receive both designations. Oregon Woods, the company that built the Old Growth Cedar Boardwalk, was in town to complete inspections of the trail, which has experienced faster than anticipated deterioration. It's estimated that the trail sees 25 to 40,000 visitors annually, which is substantially higher than the 1,000 annual visitors that had been expected at the trail's inception. As they say, if you build it, they will come, and we want to make sure it continues to be available to residents and visitors. And then our first budget committee meeting is on Wednesday, tomorrow, April 22nd at 5 p.m. in the City Hall Council Room. We offer in-person and virtual options for attending all our meetings. The meetings are recorded, so they are available for viewing at your convenience. Agendas and packets are available on our city website. If you only attend one city meeting or set of meetings as a resident, I highly recommend the Budget Committee. Is a great place to start. It's where it all begins. The city runs on a balanced budget, and everything that will take place over the next fiscal year we'll be talking about in the anticipated two Budget Committee meetings. With that, back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate your report. Do we have anyone on from the, you're welcome, from Garibaldi? How about Bay City? Give Bay City a moment to unmute if they're there. And if not, let's move on to the City of Tillamook.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I will speak on behalf of Mayor Welch for just a moment. She invited me to their State of the City event on Saturday, and after I attended the TVCC dedication, I went up there and had a lovely time with their booths, and just want to commend Bay City for putting on a great event and showing what can be done. And it was interesting to walk around and see all of the things that have been happening in Bay City over the last year. I know that's not my area and not what I'm supposed to be talking about, but it was just a cool event, and they're lucky to have those type of events up there in that city. For Tillamook, I do want to talk about our city council meeting last night. Some spirited discussions over sewer and water rates, and we'll mostly focus on sewer rates. There's been much discussion about rate increases versus doing a general obligation bond versus doing a revenue bond. And while I won't take the time to get into the nuances of all that here this morning, I do want to provide an update that last night the city council directed me to bring back a resolution that would raise water rates on a 1-year term or for the next year. That rate increase is designed to stabilize the fund. As we've talked about here, we've had 6 major sewer line breaks in the last 4 months, and we've got at least 3 more that are threatening to break that we are aware of. And so the cost of putting Band-Aids on our line is becoming untenable, and we are not eligible for grants and other types of financing because of the depleted funds that we have in that enterprise fund. So the council has directed us to bring back a resolution with a 35% rate increase on sewer. But attached to that, they are asking me to prepare for a general obligation bond election that we anticipate would be in the fall of 2027. Anybody that's worked with bonds knows that it takes about a year to get a campaign going. But it is very important to the council that the voters have an opportunity to have a say in where this goes, where increases go, if it goes on property taxes or rates or whatever like that. So we anticipate that we will do a bond in the fall of 2027, and we'll begin the preparations for doing that. That said, bonds don't always pass. So if it doesn't pass, we may have to look at other options following that. But the council is very adamant that the people get a chance to have a say in these rate increases and bonding. Want to talk about as I was at the TVCC thing on Saturday, Senator Weber approached me about campaign signs, which seems to be the topic of the day. Just as a note, for within the city limits of Tillamook, you do need property owners' permission. Signs cannot be placed within the right of way. Generally think sidewalk towards the street or right adjacent to the street, and are limited in size to 16 square feet on residential properties, and a little bit bigger if you're on some other vacant or commercial properties. We do not regulate on content, so we're not looking at whose sign they are, or what they advertise or whatever, but any temporary sign has to within somebody's front yard has to meet those conditions of not being in the right of way. The way our enforcement action works is if we see a sign or are made notified of a sign that is in violation, we will pick it up. We will try to contact the person that we think it belongs to and have them come retrieve it. But otherwise, we will just pick it up and bring it to our location where code enforcement will hold on to them. So just be mindful of where you're placing the signs and what Senator Weber and Commissioner um, I skipped on his name, but the commissioner said earlier that Fournier, Commissioner Fournier said earlier, sorry, Paul, that be mindful and keep it out where we're not causing problems where people can't see where they're going or such like that. And then on a happy note, finally for me, one of our favorite events every year, Touch a Truck. This is put on by our public works staff. They bring out all the heavy equipment and let the kids climb up on it and everything. We get fire engines and it's just a fun event. That'll be happening on Tuesday, May 5th from 4 to 6 p.m. here on Laurel Avenue in front of City Hall. We look forward to that and seeing all the kids come out and getting to climb aboard the big trucks that are fascinating. And it even brings out the little kid in me. I love climbing up in those things. It's just fascinating to get a chance to be up close to the big equipment. So Touch a Truck on Tuesday, May 5th from 4 to 6 p.m. And Commissioner, that is my report.
Thank you so much, Sean. Well, thank you everyone for this meeting. It's really, I learned something from these meetings and I hear from the community regularly that they listen and learn as well. So thanks everyone for participating. Thanks everyone for listening. And thank you as always to KTIL for broadcasting. This meeting is adjourned at 9:06 a.m. Have a great day, everyone.